Africa.
Beloz, why are you the talk? Not so we get this program.
Now we not the husband material.
No, we not husband material.
Ole,
Never
Sam,
Are we good to go? And please, I would like you to speak English. Please, I don't...
Now, we always hear that the best story is a love story. This story is about being an adult in Sierra Leone.
Ole,
A story
Ole.
about... Hey, don't mess up. This story,
Ole,
it never
Sam,
show
where we 1 million?
Sam Monzon, the kind side.
Sam, I didn't say for kind of
Side the kind.
like an Ambeku bank.
Echo.
Alright, okay.
Orange money.
Clear.
Adulting, they say, is a scam.
No, I'm just fucking serious. No, I can't even talk again. Oh, your friend, agree. No, your friend, agree. Everything I cannot, yes.
And the journey continues. Today, we bring you another episode of Johnny's 232. This episode is titled Adulting is a Scam. If you like what you have been watching, remember to like, subscribe to the channel, share, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the episodes. In life as humans, we go through several phases. You're born, you're an infant, you're a toddler, you become a teenager, an adolescent, and finally, an adult. Somewhere along that path, you meet those people that you carry with you all through your life. In everyday American parlance, we say that person is your brother from another mother. Today, I have with me here my brother from another mother, my best friend, Melvick Desmond Bankole Green. Omo Banky. Chairman. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
Adulthood.
So, 2013. I think when I started thinking about putting this series together and this segment, I knew from the get-go, off the bat, that you would be the right person. Because in my head, now me and you begin this adult journey together. In 2013, we made that bold and brave decision, not the parents, not the nothing, the leave free one of people else. We decided we were moving out. I know why I moved out. I know delve into that day. But I'm curious. When I hit you up back then and said, Melvick, low fame place, low move. What was it for you that informed that decision that made you say, yes, Beloz, low move, and you didn't say, pa, carry on no more, me not ready yet?
I think a few weeks before that, my mom decided for moving hard case into my room. And for me, I think that was the last straw because she was always in my space. My mom has this funny thing of checking if we're breathing when we're sleeping. And it's very, like you're standing over me and things like that.
Being man like you.
And I was what age at that time? I don't begin woke. So it was a bit in my space. So I think coincidentally that just worked out that, oh yeah, someone is asking me if we can do this together. And this is someone who's in my space, in as much as I did not want to, because all the time I was not free. I'm not glad with the fact that I was going to spend money, but I think we were very upfront about our challenges or the things that we would like to do or do not do and things like that. So I think it was timely at that time. It was in place.
All these years later, I've never asked. I have to ask now. Do you have any regrets?
None. But I think it was just an easy lesson probably because of our backgrounds and stuff like that, so that it made the lesson easier compared to what we're facing now as adults. Because now I've moved to, I think, one apartment after that, or two, and it's a bit different. The things that I was taking for granted, that people not crossing lines, people not, I'm a bit.
Talk and say me a good roommate, me a good housemate.
No, for myself, I am a bit in my space, so I do not take it kindly when people cross lines and things like that. So it was. In as much as I not regret, like you said, but I not think they've been giving the full lessons again for adulting. Okay. Save employing people and things like that. But
we'll come to that day in a minute. Yeah. First house, Quarry. I think it would be good for know what your fondest, if there's one memory, your fondest, the way we able to talk on camera, your fondest memory of Quarry.
I think it was the car collection.
Ah, yes, that.
Yeah, we had this thing
There
about
was a time,
yeah, we had like 6-7 cars parked. I'm just false life.
Yeah.
I think about, yeah, I think that's that's the safe thing to say on camera.
You know, the interesting thing for me, Melvic, is for me the fondest thing about Kwarina being the neighbor there, Pato there. And I say this because I grew up in a big compound, Tembetong, a lot of space where years I didn't even know my neighbors. All man they inside in compound. And to move to a place where the neighbor they know they give chance. Wake in the morning, the rowdiness, I love that about
Well,
Kwai.
for me that was my normal. I was moving from Mountain Court. You know, Mountain Court, like, it's Pato is my neighbor. So for me, Pato did not stand out. It was just my normal.
Every day for you.
Yeah. So if anything should stand out, it's the quietness. Yeah. But for the rowdiness, no, that's my normal.
So you mentioned a few minutes ago about employing people. My God. And
Yeah.
it's a thing. You know, I have several memories, recollections of some of the employees and how they would get on your nerves.
Yeah.
I have to ask, do you think in hindsight that we were too difficult, we were too spoiled, or is it just that, I mean, there's a certain, I don't know what, that doesn't come with, you know?
We were not too difficult because I think that is now even holistically looking at it now, bigger employment and stuff like that. Now that you're even employed and things that you're doing for your employer and things like that, it's not. I do not think that we're being difficult. It's just that we had a certain, again, a normal that is not the normal. So that was the disparity. So there was this expectation level. There was level of expectation, and there's this that is expected. Well, if I understand, say, like there was a time when, well, we're not calling them, but remember when mommy sent it or something, he left so there was soup and fufu. He took the fufu and put it in the freezer and left the soup on the table and the soup well. Like, then he had this face, like, why the mix soup? But this is, if not avoiding it, I mean, Makuk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they were just below it, and that's what they know again.
But then again, you know, so sometimes, so for me now, I tend to think that, you know, there's this thing people always say that familiarity breeds contempt. Because in hindsight, I recognize that we never really ever drew a hard line. We tried to, and maybe that's part of the upbringing, we tried to, you know, relate to all of these, you know, to our employees. Like, we're part of the same household. You have your responsibilities. Yes, respect is mutual. I will respect you. I expect you to, you know, to respect me. I mean, I'm talking about respect. And the one thing that comes to mind, and boundaries and all, is that we had a certain employee. Remember, he go turn on my computer, go watch film on my computer. You know, and so for me, it's looking back and wondering, you know, maybe were we too lax? You know, did they take things for granted? Did they take us for granted? Like, what do you think was responsible? Because, you know, there's some people who would tell you, me will not go ever do this. I don't go take another Wukuma an. And, you know, we have these experiences and you wonder, did we do something wrong?
We did not. Again, it's just boundaries. People will just cross line. People will just mass line. And for me, it's even easier for people to cross line because of my size. There was a time I had to put one of them down and say, now one green Beloz take big pass moon, I guess una need for respect me because
but big for you still.
no, but I mean just 1 year because sometimes I actually see them, Mr. Bangura, then Melvic. Oh, okay, fine, me not care if you do. But again, I think it's just people just cross lines. It's just second nature to them to just cross lines. They're not able to understand. Say there's a line that I can cross. Me na walk at the walk, cannot for do this. For me again, because I think that is why it's a bit. It can get on our nerves because when we go to our offices, respective offices, we respect our bosses. In as much as some of them are very relaxed but we still respect them because we know it's not boss this. You know they can bring foolish country boss.
True.
But people just do not understand lines. I think that's the highlight of that.
So I want to talk a bit about, you know, growing up, having the kind of lives that we had transitioning to adults, and perhaps, you know, what we took for granted in terms of money and spending. I know adulting will humble you. I know, you know, when you're growing up, your parents go out of the way, they give you everything. You move out on your own, then you start having to pay bills. I remember one thing you constantly always said was, people in the they're not all body parts. They're not prepared with body parts. You know, how do you think, you know, we could have been better prepared? Because I tell you, when you are in that balloon, you're cushioned, and you don't know how then they pay bills, how then they pay nothing. And every day, and the thing about Sierra Leone, here's the frustrating bit, that almost every day when you wake up, there's something new, there's some unexpected expenditure. And funny story, I still remember, I think there was a time I traveled. Where you woke up that morning, I think the first thing.
The gate.
Yes, the gate. No, before the gate. Was it the gate?
A window.
The window.
The gate.
Yes.
My car.
You motoka.
And something else, I think kitchen pump.
Yes, the kitchen pump.
Yes.
A pack up.
Yes.
And I remember I called, I don't know if you were just too frustrated, I don't know if not crying me the kind of the phone, but I could tell you were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You were extremely overwhelmed. So do you think now, as an adult, we could have been better prepared for this whole scam that is adulthood?
No, because I think that would be a bit unfair to our parents if we say that's basically saying they're not prepared for this adulthood. I think all man just gets your own way of setting you up. Yes, we were in a bubble, but I know for me, I think it's safe to say we were middle class. But again, you did not process all of that because everything came easy. Fees were paid on time. It's always the nose. So, and that's again, I keep saying normal, but that's your normal. That's what they're doing behind the scenes. Is now we're parents, so now we understand the things that we do. So instead of like me picking pampers, I don't get the money. I go at the shop, I go to go stock big man talk then. Yeah, but probably that's the same thing that we're doing. You don't need for that you picking up at this. So preparing your child for that again, and our orientation this side of the world is different. It's about protecting your kids and all of that. Overseas, it's natural for you to move out 16, 18.
Yeah.
You're going out, but even the first week when we moved out, our parents were still checking on us. As in, you don't look, you don't what, you don't this, you don't that. And we were in our 20s, no?
Yeah.
They were still, so it's just what they know again. So it's good that we're learning and we're learning fast because, yeah, but I don't think there's any better way to make it for prepare way.
I have to ask, I know there were a lot of careless, irresponsible things they will spend money on. There was a time when, remember this iPhone craze, where every year they change phone.
And we're using iPhone and Samsung together, no?
Yes.
Yes, we had Android and Apple.
Yes.
This is very, very foolish.
Is there anything your adult self misses? Not because now the responsibility don't day, picking diaper day, all of this day. Is there anything you miss spending that frivolous money pan, like a guilty pleasure? Well, like if you did right now, slack money can you way?
No, because I still think I not think say picking don't shift me too much. Because I still, yes, now I'm a bit more responsible because you just can't foolishly just buy a new iPhone every year.
Yeah.
Now you see past things like that, but I still like gadgets. I'd still queue for a PS5 if I have to. So
I never understand Una and video games.
I think that's another thing about adulting. We try to kill all this maturity. We try to kill our inner child.
But you realize I've never been into video games, right?
You're into something.
You're right about that.
so
PG-13.
Yeah.
Let's keep it family rated.
Give that bag.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Just for the record.
Yeah. So well, yeah. I do not miss out on. I not feel like I miss out on that because I still keep that. I don't jump for buy every iPhone. I'm not going to buy every Samsung because now we've been killing it. Now all Apple can do the two ecosystem anymore.
Yeah.
So that's responsibility. So you're growing up. You now there are priorities. Now you know that there are things. I don't buy iPhone every year. Definitely.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense.
No, it makes sense. No.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
But before but I still do not miss it because I love my gadget. I love my toys. So I still try to
toys with a small T or capital T.
I left to anyone you want to now.
So you talk about you don't think fatherhood has changed you. I think fatherhood does change us. I think that's another part of adulting where when you start to have kids, they come first. They come first. Absolutely. I know you're an amazing dad. I know constantly they put the pikin them first, But I'm curious to understand why you hold the view that it hasn't changed you much. I mean, are you looking at your personality? Are you looking at the way you prioritize? Why do you think, that's not another layer or level of adulthood?
For me, spending has always been Excel. So there's an Excel sheet.
Spend money.
So having a child is just another line to my Excel sheet.
Okay.
So it's just that you ever go up. So if we ever to cost that Monday for her, we ever to cost that Monday for her. It's there. It's just another line to my Excel sheet. So that's financially that's that. I think the biggest change will be the fact that you're scared of losing someone. So if I have to put it like now, I understand me. Maybe can't sample, but me check if I breathe. So now I understand that.
I hope so. You don't big the mommy. Don't apologize to her.
We're very mechanical. That's another thing about our relationships, our family. It's very mechanical. We're not about all these then organ kisses. Nah, we don't. We don't even apologize. We apologize to your mama. You just defend into the way you're supposed to do, right?
Yes,
Things like that. So we don't, hey, mommy, I'm sorry. No. Well, yeah, you have to, but that's another thing. But I don't feel like having a child is, it's just a shift. It not really changed me because I knew what I wanted to do as a dad, and I think I'm doing that. Yes, so let me picking your boko energy, things like that. But I think it's not out of place. It's not something that it don't change me one whole ecosystem. No. Okay. So I am comfortable doing what I'm doing. So, yeah.
In Sierra Leone, there are a lot of challenges with being an adult. I always say, life no need for be this difficult. For me, it's the little things. I think the thing that frustrates me the most about Sierra Leone is that sometimes you're at a place where you even have the resources. Forget the things the way you want. They're not readily available. Of course, some people will say, but then you have the advantage. You get the advantage, Beloz, for travel and all of that. And some people, be grateful. I recognize that. I accept that privilege and all. But what do you think is perhaps the biggest challenge to being an adult in Sierra Leone? What's the thing we're gonna make you, you say, I know say you never move. You're one person who has remained constant. If Salone, we die here, you're going nowhere. But if you ever had to move, pack your family and go, what would be that one thing?
Healthcare. For me, my battle with the hospital or the salon.
But you not like hospital anyway, Melvick.
Yes, but I want to be sure that if I get accidents on the street, I don't die. Because I see it on TV, people don't die when they get bad accidents. Salon, you go die.
Yeah, true.
You $100,000 in your account, you still die.
True.
For that guy, what's his name? He played for Salon. He basically gave his life to Salon.
Yeah.
And we killed him.
Yeah.
Because I don't get better way for explaining now. He got accidents near hospital, he got accidents near army barracks.
That thing was so vivid. I remember there was a video also that circulated where Sidon now, it just...
Put him ever pull out of the car.
Yes, he just put it and like...
Because he actually saw it like, say, it's always like... And he was rich, no? Not to be a poor person. He
had comfortable,
Yes. So, for me, health system and healthcare, all of that, that would be one thing we're going to make us say, mix.
So, we've gone through the whole... adulthood and everything, moving out, and I think just taking it back to the very beginning, is there anything you would change in starting this journey? So now we're looking at, for me, the official start is that 2013 we decide, bold move, say logo, anything we go meet we now. Is there anything you would do differently from then to now?
My expectations. I think because most of the time we actually put ourselves under pressure because of expectations, and we set these goals or these timelines that adulting is going to hit anyway.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, by the time that you're going to do this and this. So adulting is going to surprise you. You probably are not even going to be very close to that target you setting for yourself. So I think for me is basically enjoy the day-to-day thing of it instead of looking. Yes, you should actually set goals and things like that, but sometimes we get consumed with our goals. And for someone like me, I actually, if I do not attain a certain level that I'm aspiring for, I have a dip.
Don't fail in life.
Yeah, so I have to pick myself up again, and that takes. So by the time you catch up, you don't waste time and all things. So I think that's one thing I do differently. Well, I'm doing differently now. I think I'm trying to do differently now.
2006, I think it was when we met. I think we met in college.
Yes, we're
2000,
college.
2006, you go college.
Yes.
This is 2023. Do the maths, but I'm almost 17 years than
Yeah.
Me a art student. 17 years of friendship. I don't like to tell people I don't consider you a friend. You became family, your brother now. But I know that sometimes as adults, we struggle to maintain relationships and friendships. I can imagine that people the day where you be paddy with that, that are no longer in your life. The one thing I struggle with constantly, and I struggle to get people to understand, is that it's okay for us to let all man go in way. If we're on different paths in life, it's okay. I'm fine with letting you go. Now, as someone who's been here, this long in my life, I have to ask on camera, do you think it's a weird or crazy view that I hold? Do you think it is normal? Do you have any regrets about certain friendships that, you didn't carry on into adulthood?
Again, I think that's another major part of adulting, friendships and all of that, because you need to know the people you should hold on to and the people you should let go. Yes, because of all this I'm a person and you didn't call, I will not for talk again. It's okay. Yeah. Because probably where you're going at that. And for anybody looking at your life, it's either a lesson or thinking, there's a lesson or something. There's another L. So it's either there's another L for it. So now, again, I think, exposures and all of that, because sometimes I'm like, oh no, but this person be important. I'm not even able to understand when they talk again.
Yeah, not talk at all.
But I think that should be accepted now. There are people that they are meant for a certain part of your journey. Respect that. So if it's 2 days, respect the 2 days that you had together. And if it's 10 years, respect it again. But sometimes we try to hold on to people that they're in a journey for 2 hours. Like, respect the fact that they're there for 2 hours.
And that's what they're there for. Yeah.
So, again, I think, being friends for this long is because sometimes we actually force these relationships. We want to stay in them. We force the conversations. And for me, somebody like me, it irritates me that you're going to force everything. So, might as well. Yeah, so I think it's been working because sometimes we wake up at 4 in the morning. We know so we meet up on a step. Yeah. Nobody even can come back home. But the morning that we are not want to talk to anybody. You respect that. So over the years, I think that is what's been different. That we understand that this man don't want to talk to me today. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's not about me. I think most of the time we try to personalize things. We look internally and. It's not about us. It's not that deep. Like now we don't get this song said. It's not that deep. It's not that deep.
So, I know, and I think you mentioned this in the intro episode. Between you, myself, and Binta. Say on that panel that you are the person that don't change careers the most. You've been. What have you been now? You've been a banker.
I'm a banker, but I'm a cashier. A banker, senior management, I'm a banker.
Okay, you worked in the bank. Yeah. You worked.
I did procurement.
Cool.
I did. So I did economics.
Okay.
Undergrad was economics. Masters was economics, major in international finance. Before that, I did a postgrad in procurement.
What did you do in China? What did you do in China?
Economics, international finance.
I
think we just like paper.
Backpacker, all be yeah. And for me, I also think so. I think that's part of the adulting journey. There are some people, and here's where it's funny. There are some people who will tell you, when you CV, you have to have solid number of years in one position. You can't be moving up and down. I know myself. I always tell people I'm a former lawyer, and my colleagues say, There's no such thing as former lawyer. But I have been in so many different spaces. What I am doing now, you know, governance, international development, has nothing to do with my legal profession. Do you have any regrets about changing so much? Do you feel, you know, you are now at a place where this is what you ultimately always wanted to do? Because I think the bigger conversation there is, you know, as kids who weren't us, certain things came naturally to us because we're, you know, the professions our parents were in, what they wanted us to do. We did that, you know, we're now adults, we're at a place to think or decide, yeah, this is not me. I can't be doing this. So looking back, reflecting, do you have any regrets? Do you think you've ended up where you always wanted to end up?
So now the biggest thing about me is appreciating my path. Whatever has happened, like I it's something that I cherish, if I have to use that word, because bank actually gave me well, I don't want to say credibility standing, if I have to say that, because I don't test myself with like I don't see plenty couple and I don't take her. That's a test. So I'm not seeing anybody in office who go work right now, money not get for face me because you don't get money past bank.
True.
Money this don't say anybody in office past bank. So
True.
So I feel like there is every step of a professional journey is setting us up for today.
Okay.
And yes, what I'm doing now is more tangible compared to economics or finance, because that's a bit abstract. Yes, we see the economy and things like that, but we know all of that is models and all of that. You have to hold things constant. So what I'm doing now, I'm not holding anything constant. It's very, you put this now, this is the result.
Okay.
So I appreciate my journey leading me to where I am now, instead of looking back and say, oh no, I started before I can do this early. Probably 10 years ago, I was not prepared for this.
Okay.
So I would have failed doing this. I'm better equipped doing this because I've worked in different spaces before. So yeah, so I don't regret anything.
So
to answer that,
we've been friends this long. We've lived together. I know certain things about you. I know Melvick is a perfectionist. I don't say Melvick get half OCD. Melvick likes things. If he wants this line laid straight, so he wants them for straight. I have to ask, how have you coped working in different environments, different settings with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and how have you been able to deal or manage that?
I don't know how to manage that. Okay, because I have to be very honest. It's a bit of you telling yourself you have to let go of these expectations, because you eventually you will just die. You just come one day and somebody just says something to you and you just say, okay. It's either you kill the person or the person kill you. Because I think I don't get to that point many times. I don't work different side end. So the expectations are different. But now that I'm managing people directly, I've worked in Freetown Business School. I was a senior staff, but I was not basically managing the staff because there was a school director. You know, Tina for manage all of this. I was just for project. So I not been care about, well, not care about, it was not my responsibility for the daily running of the place, so the staff and all of that. But now, in my current role, the days where
kill someone.
Just like Papa God. But then again, this is again what we're doing, and this is limiting us. This is limiting us because we set these lines, we set these. Oh no, this is weird and cold. We're not even thinking out of the box, because sometimes it's just in our space and what we're comfortable with. So I feel now some of these people again, we're learning from them, because we think, oh yeah, this line I don't go, but that lesson again is valuable. The lesson that is going to give you that, oh, you know what, for work on time, or you know for play 4 hours a day. There is something that you should respect again, and it's another lesson. So for me now, I think adulting is basically lesson after lesson, because it's daily battle. It's a constant battle, and if you're surviving every day, you're coming out on top. So you're doing something right, even if it's 10% of the day you're doing something right. I value now. I celebrate my small wins.
Okay.
I think that keeps you going as an adult, because most of the time we just get this big goal. Oh, let Beloz buy this motor car or something. But then it's after Beloz, what's next? If you're just waiting for these big achievements or these big goals, you'll never celebrate anything, because taking this alone into consideration, we were all between 25 to 35. If we Beloz, it's a miracle.
I don't pass 35. We don't pass 35, Melvin.
Well, technically we don't pass 35. Okay, let's say 25 to 40. If you below certain, I'm very cool. And let's be very honest about it. It's either you don't thief some big map open or something. But so if you're waiting for these big goals, so you're waiting for these big achievements, it might never happen. So why not enjoy the small wins of, oh, I submitted a proposal today and they called me for an interview or something.
Yeah.
It's a small win. So for me, that's what I'm doing now. And I think that's my day-to-day success right now. So every small win for me is a success. I'm not waiting to be a managing director or something. Yeah. So I celebrate every day. So I think that's, so in as much as, so these things are frustrating sometimes because, again, for like person, like I think I want for, I'm not get OCD because that's a bit extreme, but yes, I like my things in a certain way. But because of, if I fail to do it, I sink.
Okay. So you found a way to...
I don't pull back on that day. So I'm just, it's just a
it.
constant now every day for me. If this can, I come. If this not can, that's it for me now.
I've spoken to a couple of people on this journey, other episodes. I think perhaps you are by far the closest person to me. Moment of truth, hot spots. I'll put you in the hot seat. When we met, what was your first impression of me? Because I know at some point, I'm sure at some point the impression that you hold now took you a minute to get there. But when we met all those years back, 2006.
First thing you did was give me a key for go mat in your room because me not be initiator climax. So I was like, what this bar? I feel CB. But we had to do it because we not be initiator climax. And you began some best 200. You know, so you started, the first thing we do when people try to profile them. So first of all, they think, would that doesn't feel for give me mat for go upgrade? But thankfully, Nabi and Melvin make it for go upgrade the mat. So it was okay. But again, I think that is what we do. I see somebody's status recently about we all have a book and people just read our covers. So again, it's an opportunity for me. I don't go deep and don't understand some of your fears, some of what is leading you to do what you're doing or what's leading you to say what you're saying. So yes, we've lived together, so I probably don't get better insight into your life. But the first thing that will always, first of all, anybody will be very intimidating. So Fabe College being very intimidating for me first week. So, and I met you my first week, or well, I don't meet you before, but proper interaction was my first month because I had to go join when I initiated all of that. So yeah, the first thing was this big guy. Now, you might be the pick man that year. So
hey, you forget me na pick man.
Fabe College is a blur, by the way. So I make a big down education episode. Fabe College is a blur for me. That's one part of my adulting we know. Fabe College was just a shock. No, that's 4 years. Shock. That's 4 years of not doing anything. I had a degree, yes, but no, it was for. I think
you said still they wonder.
Now only lead we to doing more degrees or something because you wanted to just leave that 4 years that you missed out on because I missed out on that 4 years. It was a blur. Yeah.
So now that was when we met. Sitting here, looking back, reflecting. If somebody walks up to you, not sabi me, see me, and say, "Oh, meet this guy," how would you describe me? What would be your description of me? If somebody asked, if this wasn't me asking, and somebody was doing a background or whatever on me and said, "Yes, tell me about your brother, the big guy."
A job man. I'm not sure that way for Peter. I think the first thing we're gonna be as well talk, man. I'm out for the boss. Don't make it steady you.
But for him,
things like that. But I know, I so this is a bit mushy now for like I'm making this kind of so no. I will just tell the boss later. I'll talk, man. I'll make it steady you. Yeah, but I think
it's a good assessment. And maybe as we're coming down to the tail end. There's sometimes, I and you know how my head works in categories, in boxes. I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, and I said, for me, I think the reason why Melvic and I get along is because Melvic gets me. And I think this is a conversation we've had that we're too alike. We're too similar. So, maybe in hindsight it was just, fortune or destiny. Maybe why we have gotten along this well and all the quarry and all of that is because we understand each other. We process along the same lines. There are things I recognize that I can only come to Melvic for, because Melvic is the only person that would get it, which does not translate to Melvic go tell me what I want for you. And I think that is something, every adult has to value, having those people or that person that can, understand where you're coming from, but tell you, no, me man, this is not correct, or this is not right. And I think Binta and I spoke about this a little bit, but I'd also like to ask, because I believe we're very misunderstood. I think we're extremely misunderstood. Why do you think we're so misunderstood? Because for people who are out there, we're in so many circles, so many spaces, but we find that not so many people understand us or get us. What do you think is the issue, or why is there that struggle?
I think we're very sheltered, if I have to use that. We're in a space, in as much as we're out there, we're still in a, I don't want to say bubble because that sounds, but we get this shell.
So you don't think becoming adults has changed that?
It's probably even made that even severe, if I put it that way, because now we protect our space. Mm-hmm. So the weights for Lemagan course, you don't go in line. So now our lines are very clear. Look at my red line. No can you?
Okay, the delete and block man.
Things like that. So you're being misunderstood is one thing, but now you're very sure of the person that you are, and this thing that you're able to tolerate, it's you're able to fake again. So you do all that line. So for me, it's okay for you to misunderstand me and to be misunderstood. It's fine. People that really matter, understand you, Johnny, understand you. That's it. We were talking about work the other day about what we want to do and things like that. I told you now, one game possible matter in all of this right now. I'm not even thinking about all the other so I don't process things like that anymore. I do not process beating this person. Now you see me, I wouldn't call. Yes, when I was a bit younger, I was thinking about, he thinks I'm proud. He thinks now I do not. I am me
People's
now.
People's opinions, yeah.
Yes.
You're who you are. Don't too big enough for
in
begin.
In that almost years, you're not going to. If I don't do this way, in that continue as wife or try for begin fit. Let me enjoy this thing now for myself. I don't want for begin make you begin tell me waiting for do again and I do not honestly process what people. I try not to process because yes, people get to me.
Of course.
But I try not to. It's okay to be misunderstood. Not all you need to explain to. Some people don't need the explanation. It's fine.
Makes sense. Final thing I would ask, and you started by talking about your mom, and I think as boys, there's this natural phenomenon that we're closer to our moms and all of that. Growing up, living with them, I recognize that it's also a struggle for when we move out and we try to draw barriers and lines. They call me early morning for check if I don't pray, or I'm grown. Do you feel now that as an adult you have a better relationship with your mom? Do you think, ironically, now that you have moved out, become your own person, your own man, your mom gets you better? Because for me, I always tell people, there was a time, you sabi me mama, there was a time I grew up and I was convinced, this not to born me. No, this cannot give me this kind of discipline, they treat me this kind of way. But now we're friends. We've come to that place where, we get along, we able to discuss issues. My mama raised me up that you idea, opinion we get. Let's discuss. Thank you, mama. Then they didn't get one line there for dismiss me. Now we're at a place where she's comfortable letting me make decisions and all of that. So do you think you have a better relationship with your mom? Do you think you guys are friends now?
I think we've always been friends, but our relationship is very.
Yeah, mama. We made a beat you tobacco.
Yes, but so we're very mechanical. That's the because I cannot say now we're on the up.
Okay.
So I think it's always been a plateau. Okay. So our line is very straight. So even if we try to hug, it's a spike. It's something that's not normal.
Why?
No, honestly, it's not because I know the love is there.
No
but
doubt.
All this display of affection will not depend on the. And that's again another thing. It needs to be somebody needs to point that out to you. Like someone needs to say this is not normal. But for us, that's a normal. It's very mechanical. We operate on a level playing field. Now, there are many things that I'm doing that my mom, I approve. I have tattoos for instance. My mom is a Gavgan almost. So you walking around with tattoos. So there are things we're never going to meet on.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you never stop making it for make tattoo. You go talk, I go preach, you go give me the part of the Bible that we will argue on. But I feel like, for me and Mimawaki, I always say the relationship is very unique because I was with her for 5 years before my other siblings in the car. So we built that. My mom is the biggest blessing in my life, so I'm not gonna know that thing. Like, okay, before having a child, now my child is valuable and precious and all thing. But my mom is just. Even me, I can always say meeting people or putting me in a space. My mom did that. Yes, there's God.
Yeah.
But my mom basically just sacrificed all in life for me. So now that I'm an adult, I understand that part because I'm sure my mom stopped living when she had me.
Okay.
Because sometimes you actually see her pairs. They have 3, 4, 5 cars. My mom has one. Then they change in every 2, 3 days. My mom has one.
Sacrifice.
So that's. Inside that 2, 4, 5 years in for go, it's going to Melvick.
Yeah.
So for me, it's my relationship with my mom is a bit different. We're not closer now. I'm not going to say we're closer now because Melvin thinks the relationship I have with my mom is obscene because we talk every day. But me go for me, mom, you want to go to call. They ever call me, they never call because I'm thinking, why should I call you? But I know you're alive. If something really go bad, they will call me.
Contact.
Yes, but she makes sure you go one for call every day, go one for talk. Sometimes we're on the phone, say nothing. So that relationship is different. We're not friends now. I cannot say we're friends because there are things I will never talk to my mom about. Like I'm not going to ever talk to my mom about my girlfriend. It's not possible. That emotion is not. It's not something I'm going to express myself to her or something. So that's different. So I cannot say we're friends, but there's just that. I think it's the one. Nami lender of last resort for everything.
Okay.
So emotions, money, all things. I know my mom is the go-to person. So, yeah. She's not my friend.
Adulting. We say adulting is a scam, perhaps, loosely.
Yeah.
The biggest scam. Do you think, because I know it's a scary, scary, scary thought, do you think we will ever stop being scared of being the head of our families? Because you do recognize we're now the heads of our families.
No,
the boy became.
it is very scary. It's very scary, but last week I was talking to someone who was like, not the focus on them, bad thing and they not focus on them, just remember what you want to do. So I think let's just think about being good parents, being successful people, and what success again, but that's another thing. But let's just focus on the good side, the good part of it, because bad things will happen. There are going to be bad things anyway. Bad things are going to come. It's just part of the journey. It's part of the lessons. It's part of. For me, I actually appreciate all the bad things that come because if bad things don't come, it's life before just two. Yeah. We need the waves. We need the, So they will come. Then get for a day. They're part of the journey, but it's not
we move.
Yeah, we move.
We move.
It is so.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been, if I might say myself, a very interesting episode of Johnny's 232. I was here with my brother. I no longer call him my friend, Melvick. We've been on this adulting journey for many, many, many years. I myself, reflecting, have no regrets. There was a while back I talked about, on Facebook, I talked about having an army, having your people. Melvick is one of those persons, along with all the other people on this episode, on this series that I know are in my corner, are my person and will war for me any day, anytime. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Johnny's 232. And as always, I am hoping that as you hear my story, as I share lived experiences with my friends, you can resonate and you can see that, in a way, we have the same story and we are all interconnected. Till we meet again next time, remember, subscribe, like, share, turn on your notifications, and catch you on the other episode. Thank you.